Hello, it's Cara here. Welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, welcome to my channel. Today I am playing with these papers, the background ones. They are from the paper cabinet or CDS Abstract Art. I am very happy to announce that I've been accepted as a brand ambassador for the paper cabinet, and therefore these lovely downloads are my first little play with her gorgeous handmade papers. You can find her on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and she has Patreon. And she also has an Etsy account where you can purchase these and many more gorgeous papers for yourself. I will put all of her links in the description below. This paper pack is a paper pack called Ocean Etchings. You get 8 by 8 papers, square papers. She has designed these papers herself, a lot of which, if not all of, using a jelly plate. You can see the texture in the papers. They are amazing. I did do a previous little glimpse on my on my Instagram channel to show you the papers in the pack. So if you're interested in that, pop over to my Instagram, Cara Mitchell Art. Again, the link will be in the description below, and you can have a look through the papers at a nice steady speed. So all I'm doing here is ripping up some of the papers into some strips and gluing them to my background with just some glue stick. At the beginning, I showed you a few images that I had in mind for this page. I kind of half prepare my pages. I roughly know, have an idea of what I want to do, but sometimes the focal image or how I plan to do the background is not always decided on. In fact, more often than not really decided, and I'll kind of see where it takes me once I've started. So I think I gave 2 or 3 image options that were from various places. I'll talk more about them when I decide which one I use. But those papers I've just collected up there, those are the papers from the pack. I'm trying to put them in the screen there so you can kind of see the patterns on the papers. As I said, this Ocean Etchings pack is absolutely gorgeous. I love the colours. I love anything sort of sea related, water related. So when I chose this pack, I was very happy to go out and print it. So I'm just, as I said, layering up the collage fodder at the moment. So just ripping it into strips and popping it sort of all over my double page spread. I get that a lot of people don't like ripping up papers, and I'm one and the same, but we have to. So those were the images there. 3 of them are from Collage Soup. And this one that I am cutting out at the moment is actually an image I designed myself. So I couldn't decide. I kind of felt the rainy vibe, I suppose, which is unusual for me because here in Morocco we've had, I think, 1 day of rain since we've been here in April, since April. So yeah, I cut around this image, this girl standing with the umbrella, the one I'm cutting now. That is a Collage Soup image. The girl where you can see her face is my own image. And I actually just use my own image for this one. I was going to put the other one in the background because it kind of looks like a shadow, but I just felt it looked a bit mismatched. So here I am with my own image that I created digitally on my my tablet. So now I'm grabbing just some blue paint and I'm kind of smushing it on with my palette knife. I didn't want to use a paintbrush. I wanted that kind of grungy look because I still wanted to see those papers in the background. Claire's papers are gorgeous and I didn't want to cover them up too much. However, I did feel that to create my page, I needed a bit of paint. I'm very much a mixed media artist. I love to slap everything on my pages. So I do find it hard just to do collage or just to do painting. But here I am. I'm using Midnite blue and Uniform blue. They are from Academy Acrylics. I'm not sure where those are available, but they are available here in Morocco. I'm in Agadir, so we have, or I've only found a few smaller art shops at the moment. I believe there are bigger ones in Marrakesh and Casablanca, and even a little bit further up the road. But that's sort of an hour to an hour and a half on the bus. So kind of stuck with the smaller shops at the moment. I get what I need. Here I'm using a Tracy Scott stencil. It is the PS234 stencil, or it is actually part of it. I've cut it down. If you'd have seen my previous videos, you know that when we moved to Morocco, we only came with small suitcases and a kind of hold-all bag. So I had to kind of choose what I wanted to bring with me at the time, and I cut some of them down so that I could have some of the ones that I wanted, and I had to leave some back in the UK. But I am going back soon just to grab a few more art supplies and see my family. So now I've grabbed out texture paste. This texture paste is quite gritty, which gives it a real nice feel when you kind of rub your hands over it, which I love. And this stencil is a Tim Holtz stencil from Stampers Anonymous. It's THMM182. Again, this will be all listed in the description box. I'm cleaning my stencil straight away there. With paint, sometimes I don't bother cleaning straight away. Sometimes I don't clean at all. But with texture paste, it's very important to clean your stencils as soon as you can, because that stuff dries, and it dries very quickly, and it is stubborn, and it will ruin your stencils. So yeah, if you're using texture paste, give them a clean straight away. Quite often I will go into another journal and do some sort of more texture paste onto another page, but I'm a little bit limited with space here. As you can see, that table just about takes my book and a few extra bits. I need to find a bigger table to put in this apartment really, but for now I've just got this little table, so my Use It Up journal is being used less and less. Now I'm just getting that blue back on my page, and I am trying to sort of incorporate the umbrella into the page. So I grab a little bit of blue onto a baby wipe and kind of smush it all around the umbrella to give it that blue haze, which I really, really liked. Now I'm just using an inner of a kitchen roll, like a cardboard tube, kitchen roll, toilet roll, whatever you've got, and putting some circles on the page with blue. Then this little piece of cardboard is basically, when I cut up a cardboard tube, so I use kitchen rolls and I cut them in half normally. One or a few times I cut them quite wonky, so I cut strips off as well, and then I rolled that strip up to make like I mean it kind of looks like a flower shape, but I just use it as background mark making. So that was what you saw with the second one. Now I'm going in with a credit card or store card. This one happens to be from Joann's, as you can see, and just doing some kind of rough line work in the background with that. More mark making basically, but just really dabbing it down, up and down, quite fast, so I don't get, you know, proper lines. I get kind of mismatched lines and you know, just a bit more natural and sort of jagged, if you like. Now I decided where I wanted my quote. I popped it on her face. I wrote on a tiny little bit of cardboard. I looked on Pinterest, and because my background's quite dark, what I did is I grabbed out the gesso with my palette knife and just smeared some gesso in the middle of my page there, just to create a white background for me to write on. And then because the page is dark, I've gone all around the edge of the page again with the same palette knife, just so it's nice and rough, nice and grungy, nothing's perfect. And yeah, creates me a nice little white frame to tie in with all the white sort of texture paste and stripes in the background. And I'm just making sure that is really dry, because I am going to write on there, so I dry it from the front and the back. I've put a little bit of plastic on the page. I don't know if you saw that. I'm not activating my pen on the girl's face. It's a little bit of packaging, and yeah, excuse me, I am English, so there I am with my tea. This was a new Posca pen that I bought a little while ago, so I had to prep it to start it off. And then here I am just handwriting my quote. I think it says, learn to embrace the storms in your life, but I could be wrong. But I'm just doing some very fine lettering, and then I will go in and thicken up those lines. I just have been practicing with different lettering styles, and basically this is my handwriting with some little sort of tags, if you like, little lines on the edges of each of the letters. So as you can see, like on the L, I've put like a little line across the upright and the horizontal line, and I've done that with all the letters. And then I dry it off just before I go in and thicken up those lines. And all I do is go around it again. Sometimes I make them quite thick. Sometimes I keep them sort of 1 or 2 sort of strokes with the pen. So this one's just a little 2 or 3 stroker with the pen, just making them stand out a little bit more. I liked the lettering. I didn't want to make it too thick. All the kind of lines in the background are, you know, they're not thick lines. They're quite thin. So I just wanted to keep that to the tone of the page. So yeah, learn to embrace the storms in your life. These pages sometimes reflect how I'm feeling, and I'd had a difficult phone call this day, and although I wasn't actually planning to do this page, and then suddenly I just grabbed out those papers and this is what happened. So now I'm covering up my girl, and I'm also covering up my quote, and again I'm prepping a paint pen. This one's a Lumocolor Staedtler paint pen. I use it for splatters, so I activate it and then just use my scissors to bang it. I do that in black and white. You can just flick these pens, but I've had an operation on my arms, so I did get a question on my Instagram the other day, why am I hitting it so hard with a pair of scissors? It's just because I can't flick it so well at the moment while my arms are still in recovery. So now I'm grabbing my Stabilo All pencil and I'm just going around the edge of my image. Just gives this a little bit of a sort of shadow look. I do activate it with a little bit of water. Just helps my girl and her umbrella stand out from that quite dark background. I'm very happy with the background on this actually. I really think it kind of looks like rain behind her, which is not the effect I thought I was going to go for when I first started the page, but then as it started to come together, I really, really enjoyed that. So I think I'm finished here. I'm going to give you a few close-ups of my page. Excuse me in the side there. There's a few close-ups of my page. If you've liked this page, please give me a thumbs up. It does help my channel to grow. Consider subscribing and sharing with your friends for me. I'm pretty new here, so I'd love some support. So thanks very much, and I'll see you again next Friday at 5 for your Friday Artscape. Bye bye.